Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion in the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I have spelled it out here. Here, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Five of Cups, and it's here because the Five of Cups correlates in astrology to the first 10 days or the first decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign, and cups in tarot are water element symbolism, and water element symbolism is very much our emotions, how they feel to us, how they inform us, how we respond to them, how we express them. And so we come to the Five of Cups and we see a pretty sad sight. This person apparently is feeling a loss. They are looking at some spilled cups on the ground. And to me, those cups really just sort of represent, the love you put into something, the energy you put into something, the sort of positive, good faith effort you put into perhaps a relationship with a person, place, or thing, okay? And somehow the investment of love you made got spilled. It's not, it's not shareable anymore. You can't take it back. You can't give it to anybody, and there's nobody there really to help you clean up the aftermath. Okay, so that can be a pretty mournful position to be in. Definitely appropriate to notice your loss, to think about what it is that you gave, and to appreciate. Appreciate in terms of just understand what it is, that you gave that got spilled there. Under what circumstances, right? We want to do a little reflection there. And then when we're done with that mourning cycle, it's time to shift our gaze, shift our perspective, and notice that we still have cups standing, okay? We still have the capacity to make to give our trust, to give our love, to make those emotional investments. And I paused there because something else came up for me. Now I can't remember what it was. Perhaps it will come back to me. So that's the Five of Cups. And I'm going to shuffle this one more time and just, say hello to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel while you're here. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this card. Okay, we got the Fool. I get the Fool a lot. I'm kind of relieved we haven't just come up with the Ace of Wands lately. I think it came up like 7 times in 1 week or something. Probably not, but that's how it seemed. Anyway, we have the Fool, and the Fool here is a beginning, all right? It's a major arcana card. It is a sort of a big message card that says, hey, you're just at the start of something. You are just starting out on a journey. Whatever it is that you may have experienced before in your life, that chapter has closed, and here we are making a new beginning. And like the Fool, we don't always know what it is that where it is that we're necessarily going, right? We kind of may have a general idea in mind, like, hey, I'm headed off to this place to try and do this, but not really understanding the details or the things that we're going to have to go through to get where we're going. And so, this person looks a little maybe inappropriately dressed for a walk in the woods. They've got their headphones in, so maybe they're not paying very much attention. They're just enjoying being in a new start, enjoying being in this state of not really knowing and not really caring, but, understanding that we're going somewhere. You see this little dog sort of nipping at this person's heels, or sort of jumping up, trying to get their attention. It's almost like this little animal instinct here is saying, hey, look out, you're about to walk off a cliff, right? So what comes up for me a lot with the Fool is, it's great to be at the beginning of a journey. It's great to be a complete zero in the thing that you're trying to do. To me, that's a really refreshing place to be, because you can just be like, well, I don't know, I guess I'm going to learn something here, right? But listen, pay attention, all right? Like, just because we are beginners on the journey that we're on right now, that doesn't mean we're complete beginners in life. Okay, we've been on other journeys, we've had other experiences. We can let those experiences inform where we're at right now and how we move forward. So, keep your eyes peeled, keep your earphones out of your ears, pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to the potential pitfalls that may be coming up. Just because you're on a new beginning doesn't mean you have to make all the mistakes every beginner would make, right? Okay, and let's see, the Fool card. I mean, I'm just drawn immediately to Mars in retrograde, partly because Mars just went retrograde yesterday, I think. And so, yeah, it was yesterday. Mars retrograde, I think of Mars as the Fool, I guess just because it's the beginner. It rules Aries, and Aries is the Fool of the zodiac, sort of the beginning sign, the child, the innocent one, So, it's sort of just blithely wandering forward into life, like, well, here I am, I'm alive, I'm going to go have an experience now. And Mars just went retrograde, so Mars is at the beginning of a time of reflection and review of our Martian principles. Okay, so our Martian principles are very much about initiative and drive and activity, using our bodies to sort of power through what it is that we have to do, using our strength, knowing what our strengths are, and being able to, act to meet our goals, often in a really direct way. But Mars in Gemini, even when it wasn't retrograde, Mars in Gemini can be a little less direct. It has a bit of a scattering effect. We can see many different ways of approaching a goal, and we realize we may have to try a couple of different times. Or try maybe a pincher approach to what it is that we're trying to achieve. Or we can find ourselves getting overwhelmed and like starting a whole bunch of new projects and starting a whole bunch of new sort of conquests, or trying to meet a certain a new goal every day. So making a lot of starts, and the more starts you make, sort of the less likely you'll get any of those goals completed in a timely fashion. So that's something that comes up. You want to be careful, not to be the fool in like 5 or 6 different things if you can help it. Like, be the fool in one thing, or be the fool in 1 or 2 things, right? Get a start at one thing. We've got 5 planets retrograde at this time, so we've already been in this mode of reflection and review, and this is going to slow us down in terms of our activity, in terms of our ability to sort of blithely walk off of that cliff, right? We're being given an opportunity here to sort of slow down, to stop, and strategize. Think about what it is that we plan to do. Think about our approaches to acting on the things that we want to achieve. Think about and communicate with others, about perhaps new and different ideas for achieving our goals, meeting our goals, that don't involve just sort of blundering straight forward ahead. Okay, so the Fool at this point might be in a better position if they just take a couple of days to strategize, or really just choose, if you're going to move forward on your path, just to move slowly, to understand that there will be hiccups, there will be times when you have to try more than once, you have to try more than one things, to keep moving in the direction you're trying to go. And this retrograde lasts through, I think, January 12th. So, and then it will be in its shadow until March. So, we're still going to be struggling with, that our sense of initiative and our power to just move forward and be direct for several months here. So really, we're being given this space of time to, think about how we assert ourselves in the world, and perhaps maybe, re-envision and revise the way we approach things in the world in our direct fashion. And taken together with the 5 of Cups. So, having mourned our loss, having recognized what it is that we gave that just got sort of spilled, and sort of reckoned with ourselves about what we gave and under what circumstances, so we can sort of understand how not to have a disappointment like this in the future, right? Or at least how to protect ourselves so that we can try to avoid disappointments like this in the future. Then we shift our perspective and we notice that we still have emotional investments to make. We still have, hills to climb, bridges to cross, people to meet, people, places, and things to get involved in. We always have more involvement to give, more emotional involvement to give. And this can be a little bit like a new start, right? This is the ending, this is the ending of a chapter saying, oh, I thought we were doing this, but apparently we're not doing this. And I'm pretty sad about that. But hey, look, I still have these investments to make. There are still places to go and people to see. And so, maybe we're moving on, not quite knowing what it is that we're moving on to, because we thought we had these plans in place. We thought we had invested in something that was going to last a while. So we one of the most difficult things that has always come up for me around breakups is like, oh, I had plans. We had great plans together, and then, so then you have to sort of re-envision your future and seriously re-envision the approach you take to connecting with people and places and things in the future, and sort of re-envision how you're going to move forward in the world, starting at zero, starting from just about nothing. But, even having nothing, you have that bottomless well of love to give, of emotional engagement to pour from, and you have, a world to see, and probably, hopefully, some aspirations, whether they're very well formed aspirations or not, like, for example, you may just have an aspiration to, say, visit Japan. You don't know what that means. You don't know what kind of experience that's going to bring you. You don't know how it's going to impact your life. But, if you've spent all of your life, say, in the American Midwest, and you just pick up and go to Japan, you're kind of the fool. You kind of, just putting yourself in a place that is really not similar to your own, and putting yourself in a position to meet people who are not necessarily, at least on the surface, similar to the people that you know, and don't behave the same way, that kind of thing. Don't speak the same language, literally, and also don't speak the same necessarily emotional languages. And I'm not trying to make any assumptions about Japanese people here. I'm just saying that, we pick ourselves up and we put ourselves in a new location. And that was the whole plan, just put yourself in that new location. But, showing up in that new location, you have no idea what the depth and the breadth of the experiences you're going to have, just being in new places and meeting new people. So, that can be a really positive thing for us. It can also be, a really kind of stressful thing for us. This Mars in Gemini can bring up a lot of anxiety and stress, is what I'm thinking, just because Gemini is really very much about expressing how we feel, expressing what we're thinking, expressing our creative ideas, but also there's a lot of, what do I want to say here? Just that there's a lot of different thoughts. Like Gemini is the mutable air sign, so it's sort of dispersing ideas. So like a lot of information coming in, a lot of information going out, right? It's not always exactly congruous. It doesn't always, the one fact doesn't necessarily always follow the other. So it can be a little stressful just because we can be sort of overwhelmed with the information. Like if you picked yourself up and put yourself in a new place, you could feel a little overwhelmed, and you could feel a little stressed out just, being so far away from anything that feels recognizable like a touchstone. So, be aware of that. If you're making a new start, if you're putting yourself in a new place, in a new environment, that could be like a nation, or it could just be a new workplace, or, moving on to a new home, that kind of thing. It can be exciting, and it can be stressful. And at this time, we really just want to slow it down, be willing to feel how it feels to lose what we've lost, and also be willing to, give some thought about how we move forward you know, in hopes of not repeating old mistakes. And I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.